Eli's hooked up. We got it here clanking, Coco. Several different ways.
I've got it set live.
What kind of spurs you got? GoPro stop recording. I'll make it over there. Yeah, I wish I'd have got grab another jacket. We gonna go try it by the spillway.
I'm down. Don't work there, we can always walk down the river.
That's one thing about a white bass and a crappie, either one, they both tell you if they're there pretty quick.
We don't want crappies here.
How's it going, everybody? It's cold. I'm ready for it to be not cold. I'm ready for it to be warm. Me and Dustin's up here at the spillway. My first trip of the year. Dustin's been up here a few times. He's caught some white bass and crappie. We're targeting white bass, but no luck yet. Just that one crappie. Switching spots. Y'all hang with us. This is the Blue Mountain Lake Spillway. You guys have been here with me several times. I'm normally coming from the other side, so it may look a little bit different. Great fins. I think that's what our problem is. The dial can be good, but when you have a major dial, though, it's tough to get a bite. Makes it a little bit more typical. We're gonna see anyway. I'd like to at least catch one white bass. I just got hit. Huh? Let's get Bill hit anyway. What's the last fish I caught? I don't remember the last fish I caught.
Start fishing that deep.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, sauger.
What's that?
Sauger.
What the heck?
Weston's got one over there. That's a white. Maybe something will happen. What'd you get him on? One. Is that white or a yellow? Another white bass. That's too small to keep. Well, we hadn't been catching anything, and I had the camera off, and then Dustin catches a white. Show the difference right quick in a white and a hybrid. Me and Dustin just talking. One of the quickest ways is you can look at the stripes. See, this is one that's like I was talking about. It's hard to tell. On a hybrid, these stripes are broken. On a white, most of the time they're consistent all the way through. But this is a white, and the easiest way to tell, looking on that tongue, and you see that one single tooth patch right there. Not these things on the sides, but that thing right in the center of his tongue. That's a tooth patch. If you've got a single tooth patch, it's a white bass. And if they got a double tooth patch, then it's a hybrid or a striper. And it's very easy to tell the difference between a hybrid and a striper. Very pretty fish. That's a keeper there. That's about the average size that we have here. About a 12-inch fish. They'll get 16, 17 inches. I think the state record is a little over 6 pounds, 5 pounds, 6 ounces, 6 pounds, 5 ounces, something like that. They don't get as big as the hybrids. They're from the temperate bass family Morone day. Morone chrysops is the scientific name of that fish. They're an intermediate predator, which means there's fish that eats them, and then they eat other fish. So they're a good fish species to have in your ecosystem. They're freshwater fish. They're like moving water, lakes with current. They've had some success in ponds with current cycles in them, but it's not something you're going to grab up and stock your pond with them and do very good with. But they're a cool fish, good eating fish. They do have a red line, a fat line that you have to cut out, but it's not too bad. They're a farm fish. There's places that actually farm white bass for restaurants and stuff, and it's sought after where people don't have a lot of them. And we eat them. A lot of people in the area don't. They consider them a trash fish, and for the life of me, I don't understand why. We got a white flaky meat. You can use it for it's firm enough. You can use it in a lot of different recipes that you could use other like the saltwater fish. So it lends itself really good for that. But people just don't eat them. I don't understand. We do. we don't care. What else about white bass? They're polymorphic. They polyandrous. They I'm using big words.
Yeah.
They'll lay their eggs, and there's several males will fertilize those eggs. They lay their eggs on shallow areas like this, and then female will come in, she'll lay her eggs, and there'll be several males in the area, and then they'll fertilize the eggs in. Well, white bass do have a kind of a strange mating ritual. The males will come up and they'll bump the females, and it kind of an enticement, saying, "Hey, I'm in the area. If you want to lay your eggs right now, I'm here to get you covered." In our area, the spawning season is usually from about late March till mid-May, and will begin when the water reaches 56.2 degrees. I'm having to remember a bunch of this stuff, so if y'all check and I'm wrong, you just have to forgive me because it's been 20 years. What else about white bass? In Mississippi drainage is where they're originally from. Great Lakes area, Mississippi drainage, which this is part of the Mississippi drainage. This is the Pettigene, which runs into the Arkansas, which runs into the Mississippi. So they would naturally occur here, but they've been introduced all over the United States and up into Canada. That spawning season I was talking about, it can start in the southern part of the United States, where most of these fish are introduced. There's not many natural occurring spots where white bass live in the southern parts of the United States naturally. Now they do well there, but it's just one of those places where they just weren't indigenous to, and they've been moved in there. About this time of year is when they'll start spawning as far south as their range goes. And in late May, up in the Canada area, where they've been putting the streams and rivers up there, they'll come back into creeks and rivers. They're a pelagic fish most of the time, which means that they like big open water. They're migratory, so when they start getting that tendency and that urge to mate, they hit the tributaries and estuaries and stuff and come into the shallower waters, gravel type areas, just like this right here. This would be, when the water gets up just a little bit higher, this would be a perfect white bass spawning area. After the eggs are fertilized, it takes 2 days till they hatch. They'll lay from, let me get this right, white bass are like incredible. Here's another big word for you, Dustin. They have a terribly high fecundity, which means that they have a whole bunch of babies. From they can have up to like 750,000, lay 750,000 eggs. That's a lot. That's a lot of anything. But everything eats a white bass when they're little. Like I said, they're intermediate predators, so they're on both sides of the food chain. So when they're small, they are a prey species that's very, very abundant. Largemouth bass, catfish, more mature white bass. Male white bass matures at a year and can be sexually productive. And a female, most of the time it takes at least 2 years. So that's one different thing. They are dimorphic. There you go again. Which is, all that means is the male and female, there's some difference in their physical appearance. The females are typically bigger, a little bit bigger than the males. The males are a little smaller, which is probably what Eli caught there, or Eli. There's you a compliment. That's what Dustin caught there a while ago, was a male. Have 2 dorsal fins on their back. The front dorsal, or the posterior dorsal, is not true hard spines like are in most fish, like most of the bass species, like the black bass. They're a spinous ray, which that isn't a true hard bone fin. I know it feels hard, but that's just the way it is. And that back, the anterior dorsal, is a soft spiny a soft raid fin. Their tail, let me get him back out here and show you. They have a forked tail. And they're homospherical, which means that their spine doesn't extend into their tail, which are several fish that occurs. The gill rakers are very, very sharp. They're right there by my hand. He's gonna get away from me. What's something else interesting about this fish? They're just a overall cool fish. And you can see there what I was talking about a while ago, those lines. Everybody will scream, hey, that's a hybrid, it's a hybrid, but no, that's a white. Typically those lines are made all the way down and they're not broken up as much, but a big percentage of the time they are. There he goes. Now to feel that, you'd be hard pressed to tell me that those aren't hard spines, but those are actually considered a spinous ray. And that interior, it's soft. I then showed you the tooth patch. Single tooth patch for white, double tooth patch for hybrids and stripers. I don't remember which way it goes, but the hybridization of a white bass and a striper will create two different fish. A sunshine bass, and I can't remember what the other one's called. Y'all can look that up. I can't remember. But there's two hybrids that comes from the same two fish. A male striper and a female white bass will produce one, and a female striper and a male white bass will produce the other. Just look that up. That sounds, I know that sounds wild, but just check that out and see. You'll see what I'm talking about. I think that's all I know about a white bass. You know anything? Would you like to add anything about a white bass, Dustin?
It's really good on tacos.
And they taste really good on tacos. That is the most important bit of information you probably get.
Make a good sandwich.
Make a good sandwich. I'm sure there's some more stuff about white bass that I'm not remembering, but like I said, it's been a long time, guys, since I messed with any of that. If Eli was here, he'd be adding stuff. Justin brought up a point that I didn't share. They are a social fish, which means they school. So once you get into a bunch of them, there's usually a lot of fish to be caught. Extremely aggressive fish. When they're, most time the bite is better on a white bass. Oh, you missed a crappie. I think I got that one on film too. That looked like a good bite.
It was. I wasn't paying no mind. I thought I was hungover out.
He's give him a twitch. The bite on the white bass is typically better at sundown and sun up, just like a bunch of different species, different reasons. But I can't think of anything else.
Just about anything.
Yeah. Oh, that is one thing. When they're fry, they'll eat small microscopic things that are in the water. And when they get a little bit bigger, inch to 3 or 4 inches, they'll eat like dragonfly nymph and different larval insects that are in the water. Tiny small inverts and fish species. And then when they mature or get a little bit bigger and their mouth gape gets bigger. Mouth gape on a fish is simply the width of his mouth that his mouth can open. And a fish, most species will eat what they can get into that gape of their mouth. So if it fits, they're gonna eat it. So when they get older, then they're piscivores after that, which means they mostly eat fish. They're still gonna eat some crawdads, and they're still gonna eat this or that, but overall their main diet's gonna consist of fish when they get a little bit older. Threadfin shad, small gizzard shad, small sunfish, different types, bluegills, long ear, small redfish, and whatever minnows happen to be in an area, darters, anything. They're opportunistic. They'll feed on anything that's in their area. All right, if we catch any more fish, we'll come back on here. If not, we'll see y'all on the next one. Hit that like and subscribe.